Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Joshua Hines and this is Construction Junction. Today we're working in Ellicott City, Maryland, and we have an interesting project. This is a project that most people will encounter if they have a home that was a new construction, you know, even as soon as recently, all the way back to 20, 30 years ago. A lot of times the builders, they leave the garages just raw. Like they'll hang the drywall, they'll insulate and they'll hang the drywall and they'll put just a tape coat on it. And then it's left in that state. And then, you know, years pass, right? You store a whole bunch of stuff in there. You know, you park cars in there maybe. Most people just stack a bunch of, it's like a storage unit really. Most people's garages, but you know, either way you go, the years pass and you know, the drywall is still raw. So most of the times garages are not a climate controlled space. So the rest of the house is controlled by the HVAC unit, but the garage is just left raw. Sometimes people will add heat, you know, to their garage if they want to wash their cars or something in the winter time. But other than that, it's definitely not air conditioned. And when you have raw drywall and you don't maintain the space, you don't keep the humidity level at a certain range, what will happen is that moisture will then enter into that raw drywall. And it'll turn the drywall different colors. You know, most of the times it'll turn like an amber or like an orange color. And what'll happen is it'll just get older and older and older, accept more and more moisture in the drywall, and it'll begin to break that drywall down. So the thing to do, you know, it's a money thing, right? So most people don't want to invest the money when they first had the house built to have that area done, you know, at least to a one paint coat so that it can protect that drywall, so they just leave it. And then at some point in time, whether you sell the house or, you know, and the next buyer, now they want to finish that garage. Then you're gonna have some difficulty getting it back to a normal state, getting that drywall back to accept primer and to accept paint, because it has taken on moisture for so many years that now it's difficult, right? It's just warped with moisture, you know, especially in the Maryland area where we have high humidity levels. So with that being said, we did get a client who wanted to finish out their garage. They wanted it to be a nice storage area, and also they want to park their cars in there, but they want everything to have its place. And so this is the beginning of a garage remodel. Now, we were brought in to get the walls back to a state to where it can accept paint. When I first got there, I noticed that somebody had tried to finish it. Somebody, potentially the homeowner, may have tried to get it, you know, done the best they could. But the problem with that is when you're adding joint compound to a wall, the last thing you want to do is build up these thick coats of joint compound, because then what you're doing is that you're building thickness on the wall, right? Even though it's in small levels, it's still getting thicker and thicker. So you're creating like a hump in the wall, which means for us to fix it now, we will have to spread out our you know, our joints wider and wider, sometimes up to 2 feet wide, just so that you don't look down the wall and you see the humps at every joint. So we knew that it was going to be a little bit of work just because of that. Now also, you know, we noticed that a lot of the drywall was like a brown almost. And so we mentioned to the client what we said earlier, the fact that the drywall more than likely has taken on a whole lot of moisture, and it's going to take a while. We suggested to put like the commercial level dehumidifiers in the space, just to dry everything out as we go, because even our joint compound is going to take longer to dry if the drywall itself has a lot of wetness in it. Now, I'm not talking about wetness where you can touch the drywall and it's obviously wet. It's more of like the drywall taking on moisture over years, so it's just the humidity level of the drywall is high. Now, as we add joint compound, it is going to dry out the drywall as well, because there's drying agents in the joint compound that's going to suck as much water as it can out of it, which helps. So, you know, we just had to go through the process. I wanted to make sure that the client was aware ahead of time what to expect, and we began the job. So this is the first video of this series, and we're going to begin to put our coats of joint compound on the wall, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, smash that like button. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's very important that when you do subscribe, also hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time we drop a new video, and you don't have to go and look for it. So that also helps. And stay with us throughout this process. I'll see you at the last video. Hope you enjoy it. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. Alright, so we're just getting set up here. You can see we got our 6-foot scaffold there and some ladders. The client did a great job cleaning out the garage so that we can work around all the wall spaces and all the ceiling spaces, so that was a big help. So you can see Jazz is just go ahead and getting started now. What we're thinking about in the beginning is everything screwed off well? Is everything taped well? So those are the two things that you have to start well with. The drywall can't be moving, it can't be drooping down, it can't be loose. So for the most part in here, I think a lot of this we had to retape, and we had to re-screw a lot of the ceiling, just because, like I said, that moisture getting inside of the drywall will just deteriorate around the nails or the screws that they used originally to hang this drywall. So we got to get all of that screwed back up tight, and, you know, put new tape on all of the joints, and then start from there. So when we're doing finishing, you know, you got to think about it. It's going to be 3 coats. You're going to have a tape coat, you're going to have a block coat, and you're going to have a skim coat. Now that's in the perfect world scenario. In scenarios that you're repairing things, you may have to have more coats than that based on how wide you have to go with your joint. So, you know, and a job like this, it varies. Like some areas you're gonna have to put more coat, some areas are not gonna need as much, so it's like a as needed basis, you know. So we'll go through and we'll touch everything. You can see down on the left of the screen, we did add drywall at the bottom there just to bring drywall all the way down to the floor level, so that if the client in the future wanted to add baseboard there, that it could easily do that. And now I'm working on the right side of the screen, adding drywall all the way down to the floor. Typically, they leave it up or not installed where the block is, the block of the foundation wall, just so, you know, in case there was a water flood or something like that, they can always come in and it won't affect the drywall. But in this case, the client wants it all the way down to the ground. And you can see we're just working through this project. It's a lot of the same things. When you're doing finishing, a lot of it is based on just experience, you know, learning how to control the trowel, learning how to float it, you know. You don't want to pull too much off, you don't want to pull not enough off. So there's a limit to, and it's like a feel, so it's like a touch that you have to develop over time, whether you're doing a tape coat, a block coat, or a skim coat. And the skim coat is exactly what it is. You're gonna pull it tight every time just so that it's as smooth as it possibly can be before you go in sand. And you can see here, we're now working on the second coat of everything. So we're going a little bit wider than the last coat that we applied over top of everything. And we're just moving things back and forth as needed to cover the entire space. So remember, there's 3 coats on everything, and you know, if you want to get into learning how to finish, I suggest start in an area like the garage. You know, something that you can practice, go slow, and work your way into it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna finish up this video here. As you can see, you know, this brought us from the start of this project. And this is a project, like I said before, is one that a lot of people have their garage in this sort of state. And they might want to do this project. I mean, now everybody's getting nice cars, and you know, you might want to have your space to fit everything else. So you might want to add some paint, you know, some trim work to your garage. So this is a good video to show you what it's going to take to get your walls back to a nice flat surface where it can accept primer and it can accept paint. So in this video, we brought it all the way up to the second coat. You know, we did the first coat, we did the second coat, and each coat you have to allow it to dry. So typically, you know, with the green top joint compound that we use, it normally dries overnight, and then the next day you can come and put another coat. But in this case, with the moisture that we're dealing with, it was a little difficult for it to dry, so we kept fans running pretty much all night. And then eventually we did have to add a dehumidifier in this space just to get everything dried out. Because the problem is, you know, if you do all the finishing and you do all the sanding and it's not completely dried out, it's going to start to bubble. So we'll see further on down the line if we encounter that or not, if we get it dried out enough. But up to this video, we got it to the second coat. You know, again, this is a physical sort of item of work, but this is an item of work that if you can master it, you can really save yourself some money in the long run in your home, because you're going to have issues in your home that you might want to fix up. And this could be an item that you won't have to pay for if you can learn the skill. But learning the skill is the key, and you have to have time to learn the skill. So if you don't, you know, you are going to have to hire somebody to get it right, to keep yourself from being frustrated. It's just like anything else. You have to be able to learn the skill how to handle that knife and get the walls back to a smooth state. But you know, moving forward, I'll see you in the next video. We'll continue this series along. We do have a couple other series running at the same time, and you know, I hope you guys are enjoying all of the series, all of the videos. Hope that you're learning something out. And if you are, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.